Hello, everybody. It's Mark Bloomhard here with Hustle and Grit. Welcome to the first episode of 2019. We kind of had a little bit of a slow start in 2019. We had a lot of things going on at the studio, and probably the biggest complaint I get online and from the comments are like, "Hey guys, could you post a little bit more? Could you post a little bit more?" So we're going to try to do that quite a bit from here on out, 2019. Again, I'm Mark Bloomhard, founder and CEO of a company formerly known as Bootstrap & Co. Creative Studios. We went through a rebranding exercise, and now we're called Boulder & Co. Creative Studios. And I think that'd be a whole nother episode, actually, tell you why we went through that whole rebranding exercise and what that looked like. So stay tuned with that. If you have any questions, obviously leave any questions in the comments below, or feel free to DM any one of us on the team. I'll get that message and we'll go from there. So, but I did want to talk about something very specific today. Yeah, and I think it's like January 9th or something like that. But my life literally changed at the end of 2018. I'm 45 years old, and I kind of went through this whole midlife crisis thing in 2018. And it was kind of, as you can imagine, with me being creative, it was a little bit dark and, just kind of rethought a lot of things in my life. And in doing so, I was reaching out to a lot of people for help. And I ran across this gentleman. He's Dr. Romano, Steve Romano from Holistica. And he basically helps you with mindfulness. So he talks about breathing, being present, and I met the guy, I liked the guy, so I took his class, and it was a virtual class, it was online, so just kind of dialed in once a week and talked to him. And the benefit of that class literally blew my mind. I was a reluctant believer, if you will. I started saying, okay, let's see what you got. I've read pretty much all the motivational books out there. I'm like, whatever. Okay, let's see what happens. I knew I needed help, and I knew I was looking for something, and I can't tell you how much I got from that. I want to talk about one thing that I received, one tool that as a creative I think could really help a lot of other people. Now, a lot of people say this. I've said this, I've heard this so many times. Fail to plan and plan to fail. But when it comes to being mindful and being present, that needs to take on a whole nother level. So in 2018, my New Year's resolution was to be more present. So I've got 4 kids, and I've got parents, I've got a group of friends, and every time I'm talking to them, it's like I'm not talking to them. It's like I need to be somewhere else. I've got this ominous pressure of everything to do in life, and it's just sitting there on me, right? So for example, one of my favorite people in the world is my mother. Let's say she's 71 years old, and one of her favorite things to do is just have coffee with me. So when I'm sitting with her, and here I'm trying to be present, I'm sitting with her, and I'm like trying to focus on everything that she's saying, but in back of my mind, there's this battle that's raging because I know I have to get this proposal out, and I know I've got to answer these 8 emails, and I know I'm going to basically be in the office till midnight and blah, blah, blah. And because of this battle, I'm trying to fight this battle bravely. I'm unable to look at her and just be present in that moment and drink my coffee with her and find out how her day's going. So the big takeaway, and that was a real struggle for me in 2018. So in the beginning of 2019, I'm going to go through what I call version 2 of Mark, right? So the biggest thing that I took away was I literally sat down, I planned out my entire year. So I went out through my year, and I knew the critical dates. I knew when we were going to be on vacation as a family. I knew that I'm committed to a couple different not-for-profits. I know when their major events are, so I looked the entire year and plugged everything in. Then I went through the months, and let's say the first month of January, I plugged in all the events I knew that were happening in a month. And then every single Sunday I sit down and say, what does my week look like? So my week looks like, for example, I wake up, and I get the kids to school, I get into the office, and then I know exactly what I'm doing throughout the day. I plan that out. We've got Outlook, which most companies do, so my whole team knows what I'm doing. And then at 5:30 sharp, I'm home and I'm cooking dinner. I demand that the 4 kids cook dinner with me, and they can do, household chores. We just catch up. So 5:30 to 7 o'clock, we're making dinner. From 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, we're working out. from 8 o'clock to, let's say, 10 o'clock, I'm either working on the house or coming back in the studio or at a board meeting or whatever, but the entire day is planned out. And so the advantage of that hour to hour to hour is that it has helped me be far more present. So if I'm sitting and talking to somebody, the only thought that's going through my mind is, okay, I didn't have this guy planned, so I'm just going to lose this slot for blah, blah, blah. But I'm just going to lift and shift that plot from Tuesday to Wednesday. I can do that, no problem. And then I'm done. That battle that was raging in the back of my mind going like, I got to do this, I got to do that, and that. I could turn that off because I know that I'm in the slot. And so if I get disrupted, the only thing that's disrupted is that one slot, not this perceived 15, 20 other slots that are always above my head. It's the one slot that's getting disrupted. And so I have found so much benefit from this. I really want to talk about that. I've got 2 calendars. I've got one electronic that everybody can look at, and the other one is completely handwritten. So this is the beginning of the week, if you will, like I was off. But I know exactly what I need to do during that day. I know exactly what meetings I need to go to, and my entire day is planned. And it takes a little bit of effort, and I do this on Sunday evening. It takes a little bit of effort, but that benefit echoes completely through the week. And I feel already I'm far more present, far more relaxed, and a far better place to have mindful and conscious and purposeful decisions in my life. I feel like I'm just living in the moment. I'm present. And it's because I spent that little bit of time. I invest in my time. And my time is my most precious resource. It's not money. It's nothing. Like I cannot buy any more time. So this time, I'm taking control of this time. And that's the one thing that I'd like to give to you, everybody. I think a lot of the folks out here are creative. And many times you're like, dude, I'm creative. I don't even know where the hits are coming from. How do I plan this out? Well, I'm in the same boat. So if you get control over that, and when these hits that come at you, from left field, then all they're doing is just screwing up one little slot in time, not your entire week, if that makes any sense. The book for this episode is actually my calendar. So it's a 2019 calendar. It took me a long time to find this. It's a 2019 calendar from Gallery Leather in Maine. And it is the only one that I could find that had this format. And the format gives you the entire week. I don't know if you can see that. It gives you the entire week, and it gives you the times from 7 to 7. So most of them are like little squares. And my favorite, brand of all time is Moleskine, but they don't have this. And this is, just so you know, their calendar is a Pro M19. It's the only one that they have that gives you this entire list. And that entire list helps me I can block out my meetings or my appointments, and also throughout that, I can pepper in what I need to do. Now, if it's in green or if it's highlighted in green, that means that I can cross it off because I know it's done, but I need to get back to that person. For example, I've got a client here, right? So it's in green, it's highlighted in green, but I called that client on that day. But it's highlighted, so that means I need to follow back on it. And so what I'll do is, if I talk to a client, the client says, okay, can you call me back in 2 weeks? I'll write their name in 2 weeks, but I don't lose track of that client, if that makes any sense. So those are 2 things that I have that works for me with my organization, and it actually really works. I like to have pen and paper, so I'm still driving around. I doodle, all over this thing. So it doesn't replace the electronic version, but once I have my critical meetings, maybe 2 or 3, 4 of these things a week, they go into my Outlook, so my team knows if I'm in the office and if they can schedule a meeting with me. So the difference between this is everything I'm doing, and my Outlook that the team it has access to is only maybe 4 or 5 things, because I might only have 4 or 5 meetings in a week. So the other thing that it does is it allows me to have a sense of accomplishment. So throughout the day and throughout the week, you can sit there and you're working. But what exactly did you do? And how long did it take? And did your actions actually move the company forward? And when I'm asking that, like, it allows me, even if I'm busy or having a bad day, it feels like that, you know, we're not getting ahead. I know what I'm doing. So I've got this incredible sense of accomplishment, and I can always go back to my calendar and find out exactly what happened. And yeah, like I said, your most precious commodity is your time, and this is one of the greatest ways to rein in that resource of time and take control over it. Best luck to you. Again, if you need any information, to contact this gentleman that I was working with. His name's Steve Romano out of Holistica Leadership, I think it's called, out of California. So just a remarkable individual, and can't speak high enough of him. And if he's listening, thank you very much for the influence you've had on my life. And yeah, I bade you the best success in 2019.